Welcome to the Team Elevate team call. It is the 20th of August, which means that we are starting to approach the third quarter of the year. We are getting there, which is absolutely crazy insane that we are soon going to be entering September. So hopefully you guys are crushing your 2019 goals. I know that we are killing it as a team. And so to lead into that, we're going to share some recognition. Our August recognition. We have changed a total of 371 lives so far this month, and we have, I think, still 10 days left. We did change almost 1,000 lives last month, so we have some big shoes to fill, but we are well on our way there. We can totally do it. If everybody comes together and changes 1 or 2 more lives this month, we can collectively change probably 2,000, 3,000 lives. And we have all the tools to do it. We have Morning Meltdown. We're all in the middle of Morning Meltdown. We're crushing it. We have Ultimate Portion Fix. We have the momentum. We have an incredible team. And so with us just like showing up on social media and bringing that excitement and bringing that energy, people can't say no to that. People are like flies, right? You have to be that light and people gravitate towards that light. So show up on social media. Every single person, no matter where you are in your business today, you should be pushing in the next 10 days of the month to change 3 more lives. Maybe that'll push you even further into Success Club, or that'll push you, if you're at 0 now, it'll push you into Success Club, and you can end this month with so much pride. Be proud of yourself. End August being proud of yourself. So we have an incredible amount of people who have already changed 2 lives this month, but hitting Success Club already. I'm actually not going to read everybody just because it's going to take a long time, but I do want to shout out our coach of the week this week, who is Kate. She is always on fire. She's a rock star. She is, leads with so much joy and passion, and we're so lucky to have her on our team. But this week in particular, I made her our coach of the week because she signed 10 coaches in the last 48 hours, and she jumped on our team in our team page the other day, and she just shared all of the things that she's doing to really gain the trust and build the excitement on her social media. And I started implementing those things into my business, just bringing more joy, bringing more passion in. And I've already seen that improvement on my social media. And so if you guys haven't watched her video in Team Elevate, go ahead and pop and watch her video. It's just a video that she went live and talked about the 5 reasons that she recruited so many coaches in the last 3 days. So make sure that's on your to-do list to accomplish in the next 24 to 48 hours. But Kate, I'm so proud of you and everything that you've accomplished. And it's really cool to see what she's done in 2 years and what we're all capable of doing in our businesses. We have signed 98 coaches in the last 7 days. Actually, I just popped into my online office and we actually signed up 101 coaches onto Team Elevate in the last 7 days, which is so cool. So if you were somebody who signed a coach, make sure you shout yourself out in the chat. And then this last little quote I wanted to point out, because I was talking to one of the leaders on our team today, and we were talking about how when coaches come into this business and they're like, I want to build a 6-figure income and I'm so hungry and I'm going to do this and I'm going to run, I'm going to chase after like this business model, we see that people really fall flat. And Keith Callahan in the book Build to Last, I'm going to pull it up. In the book Build to Last, if you don't own this book, you need to buy it. He says that leaders focus on what they are becoming more than what they are getting. And so when we recruit people into this business who are excited about becoming the best versions of themselves, and us included, right? Wherever we are in our businesses, when we're focused on becoming the best versions of ourselves from the inside out and, casting that vision and working so hard for that, that's when the stuff comes. That's when the, 6-figure income comes. That's when the accolades come. All of the pretty shiny things that people can call us, the things that we can get, those start to come when we focus on the person that we are becoming. And so I really want that to be your trend moving forward into the rest of the year, is to just focus on being the best version of you, and people can't say no to that. All right, so moving forward tonight, kind of on the same topic of how to get people into your business, I asked a superstar diamond coach in the network who is, I think, been in the top 10 3 years in a row. She's incredible. She leads her business with so much grace. She just popped a human out of her and she looks incredible, guys. Holly Hillier is a superstar diamond coach. She's just somebody who I respect so much in this business, and truly like treats her business like a true business. She shows up, she puts in the work, you know, she outworks so many other coaches because she's willing to wake up and put that grit in, and it shines through her business. And so tonight she's going to talk to us about recruiting coaches and really inviting to the coaching opportunity. So I think I saw you on, Holly. If you want to unmute yourself.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for asking me to be on this call, because you guys are, just your whole team is on fire. And so it is, I love like surrounding myself with other people who just have that big vision and like will hustle for it. And that is you guys. And so I'm so excited. And I mean, it's not like, Kate, what, 10 coaches like in like 48 hours? That's crazy. So it sounds like Kate has like given you incredible insight too into like how she's bringing the joy and how she's finding coaches. And so I wanted to talk to you guys about, how am I doing that? How have I been doing that for the last few years, and kind of the shift that I made to then take my business to that next level? Because for those of you who don't know me, so I've been coaching 4.5 years now, which if I had gotten on a call with somebody who's like, I've been coaching 4.5 years, they're like, oh my gosh, they've been coaching like forever. And I feel like I like just started. So it's bizarre to say that. But when I started, I was working a full-time corporate engineering job. There were no kids in my life. And now I have a 3-year-old and a 3-month-old. And so there's been lots of changes like over the course of my business, but I wasn't this coach that like just shot up, like, you know, huge growth right away. I am the coach who showed up consistently. And that's really been my story. Is when my coach asked me to coach 3 times, I told her no every time. And, you know, same story we probably all have. But once I decided to do it, I decided I was going to do it. And so my coach said, you have to hit Success Club. Like, that's just kind of the basis of your business. And so I went in with the decision I was going to hit Success Club 10, because I was like, if I'm going to build a legitimate business, and again, I was making 6 figures as an engineer. So I was like, if I'm going to build a 6-figure business, I've at least got to help 5 people. Even that sounded like silly, but I was like, I'll help 5 people every month. And it was like very doable. So every month since I've started, I've like hit Success Club 10. But when I first started, it was very much about the challenge groups and about posting to social media and I didn't have a huge like weight loss story. But it was about being the strongest version of myself and doing, you know, I think as new coaches, or at least for me, that's where I felt really comfortable. It's easy to share about that. It's easy to show up every day and post your workout and post something, you know, that you're eating, versus talking about coaching. You know, you feel like you're this new coach, and what are you going to say? I mean, just 2 weeks ago, you were totally skeptical of this opportunity. And now what? You're going to like, hey, join me. I'm going to help you build a business, when you're still trying to figure out everything yourself. And that was kind of the mindset that I was in. And so I also followed I'm very like type A organized. And so I followed this marketing calendar. And I will say that for me, my upline is like not super involved. And so I was lucky to be part of Lindsay Matway's team. So I got to call into our Monday night team calls. And then it was like, YouTube was my best friend. So like, just go find as many trainers as you can. So one of them that I came across was Melanie Mitro's marketing plan. And so I did a free group the first week of the month, and then I would do a challenge group the 3rd week, and then a sneak peek the 4th week. And it's great. And it laid everything out for me. My mistake was, and where I probably could have used some coaching, was that because I was just doing a sneak peek once a week or once a month, I was only really talking about coaching like the week before. And I didn't want to be bombarding people with coaching posts because, you know, well, I don't want to talk about coaching every day. So then it was like 2 days a week, 2 days that week before I talk about coaching. So in a month, I might have been talking about coaching twice. Now I showed up every single day and I hit Success Club 10 and I found challengers. My first coaches did come from challengers, and I was able to hit Premier kind of first year and then move to elite. But even hitting that elite goal, that was with warmish market, right? It was like the friends I kind of knew that I added were friends of friends of friends on Facebook. So it still wasn't cold market. It still wasn't like I'm recruiting all of these coaches and helping them build big businesses. It's I've got a few friends and I've got a spouse and I have a second business center, right? So I was like, I have a spouse, I have a second business center, and then I've got like 3 friends in 2 years who built diamond businesses and helped me build to elite. So it really wasn't like this great growth. But as I was pushing for elite, one of my coaches had like stepped back from her business. And so she dropped from diamond and I was like, we're not going to be able to do this. And she contacted me and said, listen, I will get my diamond back if it means our team gets elite. You know, I know how hard you work. I know what this means for you. Now at this time, my husband was not diamond. And so I had 10 days to get him to diamond to start 5-star qualification for our team. And I was like, 10 days? What? So in those 10 days, I went back and followed up with people from like the last year and a half of my business. And this was when I realized that massive action could build this business. And so within those 10 days, I mean, I literally followed up with like 1,000 people, which I know sounds crazy, but if you think about it, if you're just inviting like 100 people even a month, if over a year, that's over 1,000 people. So I just started taking massive action. I did that. I got him to diamond. And I had this mindset shift of, well, I just took more action than the person next to me. And now we're an elite team. And for some reason, it switched my mindset about how I talked about coaching. And I wish I had have done that sooner. Because I went from saying, I have no idea, like, I'm going to talk about coaching, I'm not successful, to truly believing that anyone could be a success in this business. Because if I could just build my husband a diamond in 10 days, like, anyone can do that. Anyone. And I will also say, at that point in time, July, August, September, October, I had a 4-month-old at home. My child did not sleep. He did not sleep through the night until 17 months. And my husband was living in France. So I was a single mom by myself with a child who didn't sleep, messaging 1,000 people over 10 days and building someone to diamond. So it's not like I had all this like great time in the world. Like it just was like a decision and you just chug energize and you just do it. So I was like, anyone can do this, right? Like anyone can do this. I'm crying from exhaustion, but I still made it happen. And it's when that belief changed that my messaging changed. And so not only did I go from, okay, I'm going to talk about this a couple of times, like a month, to I'm going to talk about this all the time, to when I talk about this, it's not if this can work for someone else, it's when this works for someone else. And truthfully, and I'm sure like Kate probably mentioned it, you know, Ashley mentioned like the joy. The way you feel about this business, if for some reason you do not believe like deep down that this business can not only work for you, but for anyone, that is your first hurdle to overcome when talking about coaching. You have to believe that this business opportunity can change everyone's life and yours. It is going to change your life. So with that belief in mind, and stories becoming this really big thing on Instagram and now obviously Facebook, I made another big shift in my business and I started talking about coaching every single day. And I know my coaches say, especially new coaches, what am I going to talk about? I'm not making $1 million. I'm not whatever the stories are we're telling ourselves why we're not talking about coaching. So I have three categories that I tell all my coaches to make. And literally I love to have things like written on my whiteboard. So like if I'm feeling uninspired, I'm like, oh, let's talk about that today because we're going to talk about something about coaching because it might resonate with someone. So my 3 main categories, and you guys may have heard this on other calls, but I do past, present, and future. So past. So why did you start coaching? What made you take that leap of faith? Because this is scary for every single one of us. into coaching? Why did you start this? For me, I was dealing with depression and anxiety, and I hated my job, and I wanted out, and I wanted to be home with future babies. So like I have all those things written down, and those are like all different stories. And so you can always go back to why you started. Present, what are you doing right now? So it may not be about why you started or where you're going. Literally at this moment, and every single week and all the time for you guys, because you're on a top team, you have access to top trainings literally every single day. So Kate's live in your team page, that's a story, right? Do a quick, oh my gosh, I'm on, learning from one of the top coaches about how best to like help my coaches grow their team. When you guys see rank advancements on Thursday, if you're like, I don't have anyone rank advancing on my team, you do, because you're all part of this huge, amazing top team. And so when Ashley is on here saying, we have all these new emeralds and new diamonds, and she's giving shout outs, guess what? You can do the same thing. You are one team. You guys, guess what my team did today? Look at the momentum my team is building. Use this team. Do not be scared, because the people who are succeeding on this team are succeeding because of the resources that you have to give to your new coaches as well. So there's no like, oh, I'm faking it. No. We know we can help our coaches be successful because we see it working for everyone else on this team. So when you're talking to people or you're talking on your stories about, oh my gosh, look at these rank advancements, it's payday and rank advancement day, and please join me in celebrating them. And then end it with, this is your social proof that what you have works. So embrace that. So there's always a present, there's always a training, there's always someone to celebrate, there's always a way. And sometimes it's just about the community, right? Like I just love these girls so freaking much. And when I get off a team call, and I feel like I found my people, like sometimes it's just talking about that. And sometimes that's all that someone needs is that community. So you never know what it is, but those are all like present. Like what are all these things that I do every single day? And it should be a mini sneak peek into coaching, and also a mini sneak peek kind of into combating objections. So I'm always looking at ways to combat people's objections publicly, because it's just easier than answering a million of the same questions. So that's kind of like a side category. I also have all the objections that I'm going to talk about. So pyramid scheme, or even today, like I did like a tongue-in-cheek post being like, home workouts don't work. This whole business is a scam. Well, excuse me while I fit in my pre-pregnancy bikini and hang out by my pool, right? So like, it's there, like just little tiny things. And most of the time I am talking about it on stories, but take those objections, combat them publicly, and then you're really not going to get them privately. And then present. So where are you going? So of course you have these goals, right? And I think we're also worried like, well, I can't tell people I'm making X amount of money. And I will tell you guys, it is not about making X amount of money. It's about the journey to get there. Or your journey might not be financial at all, right? What is that end goal? Take people with you. That's what's so easy when we sign up as a coach at first. It's the challenge group. I'm going to show you guys my journey. I'm going to show you my weight loss journey, be a product of the product. Be a product of the product in terms of the business as well. Take people on the journey with you. If you show up at the end and you're like, oh, I'm a top coach, I'm earning $1 million a year, I'm like, congrats. Like, it doesn't matter. It's too big. It doesn't resonate with them. The small things, those resonate with people. Take them with you. And I will also say, in terms of, we're all so quick to want to throw out financial numbers and have these big financial wins. For me, it has been it was about retiring from my full-time job, right? But I'll also say with that, why did I want to retire from my full-time corporate job? For me, it was about becoming a mom, and that I wanted to be home with my children. And some moms want that, some don't, but that was my goal. And so I connected this financial goal to something emotional that my avatar, because I know please, that's another thing. Like, know who you're talking to. You cannot go out and just try to recruit everyone. That was a huge mistake I made in the beginning. I was like, well, I know who I was talking to. I talk to moms now. Like, I just straight up talk to moms. I have non-moms joining my team, but maybe 1 out of 100. Like, I just talk to moms. So I knew kind of from that point, like, those were the types of women that I was talking to, because that's who I could relate to. And so I had then, once I hit that goal, it was about retiring my husband. And it's funny because retiring my husband wasn't so much about him being home with like the kids. Like, yeah, that never was my vision. Like, 2 parents at home, like, I wanted to be home. But growing up, we moved every 2 years. And while working, when we got married, we moved 8 times in 10 years, and like big moves. Like, we drove cross country, moved cross country 3 times. We moved internationally to France and back. So like big moves. And it was something I said I would never do. I became a 6-figure earning engineer so I could support myself and like stop that pattern that I had as a child. And then I found myself right back in it because of my husband's career. So when I said I wanted to retire him, it was so that I could set down the roots like I never had, so that I could form, like, when people ask me where I'm from, it is the weirdest question in the world because I'm not from anywhere. Like, it is so weird to have someone ask you, like, where are you from, and not have an answer for them. And I didn't want that for my children. And so when talking about retiring my husband, it was that emotional connection to those stories, not about, I retired from my 6-figure earning job and I'm going to retire my husband from his. Like, literally, it was about more than that. When we were looking for homes, it was not about a mansion. It was not about we don't live in a mansion, but it wasn't about any of that. It was about a home for our children. And it was about neighborhoods, and it was about schools. And we moved in this house, and I really wanted a pool. And I made sure that pool connected to a vision, because a pool, it's not that inspiring. Okay, you can get a few good like Instagram photos by a pool, but like, what is going to connect people to it, right? It's the stories behind it. It's the moments. It's that my 3-year-old has a July birthday, and we literally have been, his first 2 birthdays were living out of suitcases in between moves, living on the road, and we never had a birthday party for him. And I wanted to have a summer birthday party by the pool with his friends in our backyard, like in our home. So those kind of things are so much more important than like a dollar amount, So when you paint that financial vision or whatever that big vision is, connect it with your past, with your stories, with your present, and why you're working for it. So never ever like discount your story and where you are right now when you're looking at those goals for the future, and take people with you. They want to cheer you on, right? They want to see you succeed. And this business income takes time to grow. It does. 3 years until I retired my husband, it didn't matter because we celebrated little wins along the way. I painted the vision in all different ways. I showed, he traveled all the time. And so I talked about being on calls late at night when my boys were sleeping and I'm working to bring him home. And it was just always reinforcing that. But it didn't matter that it took 3 years. And when it happened, people were like even more excited for me. So when it comes down to recruiting coaches, the most important thing you can do is just to talk about it every single day, except in your stories, right? You don't need to do a post about it every day. I maybe post about it 1 to 2 times a week with like more kind of like jabs and showing the lifestyle and, getting people interested in that way. But stories are just and you can show emotion, and that is what brings people in. So I do the past, present, future, and then combating objections. I love to let people ask me questions. And if you guys have no one asking you questions, just go back in your story and ask yourself the questions, right? So I do it all the time. Like, I'm like, oh, I actually wanted to answer this one, so let me go ask myself. And then like any objection, you can just put in there and then you can go answer it. So you can have a whole day. Like I guess it was last week. I was like, what fears are holding you back from jumping in on this opportunity with me? And so then I did have people ask me questions, but some of them people didn't ask. And so I just asked myself. And then I literally have all these stories full of questions, combating objections publicly, and doing it very fast, succinct, which I think people also like. It's not like some big sneak peek or anything. And it's just reinforcing those things over and over and over again until they decide, yes, this is the opportunity for me. And of course, if you have people asking you questions, they're like super interested. So really easy to start those conversations. So, I know it sounds simple, but I think if you really do like a social media audit and are like, how often am I talking about coaching? And like, what excitement am I? Like, why does someone want to join me? Why would I want to join me on this journey? And again, that is going to come down to your emotion, to your storytelling, to knowing your avatar. Because a lot of times our coach is like, I don't know what story to tell. Well, it all goes back to that, like, who are you talking to? Because we all have a million stories, but the stories I tell need to connect with my avatar. And that's the other thing. There are, in terms of like objections and what I'm going to talk about coaching that day, and same thing with challenge groups. We know that some things are going to resonate with people and some aren't. So, I mean, just with like morning meltdown, not even challenge groups, I'm like, okay, one day it's focusing on these workouts are 20 to 30 minutes. You can do them in a super small space, or, you can do them with kids around, or it's like minimal equipment, or, it's like all these little bits and pieces that like 20, 30 minutes may not speak to someone, but like being able to do it in a super small space might. And so that's what I try to do with coaching. Like each day is just one little bit, and maybe it doesn't speak to, the masses, but it's those little tiny bits that when they touch someone like that closely, that's when they decide to coach. And so don't speak to the masses, speak to your avatar. Like I speak to the mom that I pretty much am. And I fully embrace who I am. And I also know it is leaving people out, but you can't look at it that way, because if you speak to the masses, you're really leaving everyone out because you're not connecting with anyone. And so that was my huge mistake in the beginning. I didn't know who I was talking to. So now I know exactly who I'm talking to. I know my stories. I know how they're emotionally going to connect, and I tell them every single day. So I hope that is helpful. And again, use your tools. I know you guys have a ton of social media training. Use the polls, use questions, use the chat box now. That like Instagram loves you when you use anything new, right? So, and ask very specific, like what are your objections about coaching? Or like, what do you want to know about my meal plan? Or what do you want to know about modifying this workout, like for pregnancy? Again, these are all things that like my avatar, but get people in that chat thread. And that thing's awesome, because and also if you have like one or two people that join and you're like, this is really awkward, call on some of the coaches, be like, you guys get in here, get in my chat thread, start asking questions, and let's all just like get engaged. Because those one or two people, if they join a chat thread, they are invested in you. So use those tools to really feel out your market. Swipe up I use a lot, but like if you don't have 10,000 followers, it doesn't matter, because you have so many other tools. IGTV, I will tell you, like live, I do a lot of live. Well, I'm starting to do more. I'm trying, since like IGTV is supposed to be like the big thing in 2020. We'll see, right? But I've been doing a lot of lives and then like uploading to IGTV, and like, people have been loving that. So like adding value, and it doesn't have to, like a lot of times what does your avatar want to know? And my coaches will say, well, I don't know. They never ask questions, right? Like, I don't know. Okay, so then who do you follow on Instagram? Why do you follow them? And what do you want to know from them? So like, I'll follow like toddler craft things to try to think of like, it's been raining. What the heck do I do with my toddler? And so then I'm like, oh, well, my followers always, then they're going to want to know like, oh, how did you know to do that? And so I'll go live talking about like, oh, rainy day toddler crafts. Like think of ways that you can provide value just like to your avatar outside health and fitness too, because then they're really engaged with you and then they're really connecting with you and you're not just selling them health and fitness, and they're going to fall in love with you. They're going to fall in love with your family. They're going to fall in love with your life, and your life is Beachbody and coaching. I mean, not your whole life, but it's all part of it. So it's my whole life, but so anyway, I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any questions, I would love to answer them. I hope it was helpful and not just too.
So helpful. Oh, it inspired me like crazy. And I feel like when I look across the map at coaches on our team who really struggle with recruiting coaches, it's because they are not talking about it enough. And I love what you said. I loved all the things you said, but I loved more specifically the part where you tied in like the financial goal with like talking to your avatar. I think as new coaches or coaches who really haven't gone below surface level, it's hard to like get out of the mindset of people just want to hear that I make six figures, or people just want to hear that I've made $1,000. But if you really do think about the person on the other side of the phone that wants to relate to you, and you put it in like a perspective that they can actually relate to in terms of where, like what you've gained and where you're going, even that like first $100 to go buy your first pair of like Align pants or something, or to go get a pedicure or aligning it to something that really fits your tribe is massive. And I love the past, present, future thing, because we sit back and we're like, well, what should I talk about? What should I talk about? What should I talk about? And when we just put it in the perspective of our avatar, it's so much easier to lay out. So good.
Yeah, I'd say one of my best like recruiting post/story was very much, my son had been in like a swim class, and then we moved him into private lessons because our pool is almost finished, and private lessons are much more expensive, but like $150 more expensive. So like, it's not that much more expensive, and coaching any level coach can sell 3 challenge packs, make an extra $150 a month. And so it was very much like, coaching, and this was literally just a few months ago, but like coaching allowed me to make the decision that was right for my family and for my family's like safety. And it's so sad that sometimes financially we can't make the best decisions for our family. And that's what coaching has done. And like that post, like just like blew up. And I mean, it's just about like, yeah, as women or whatever, women, moms, like how many times do we make a decision? It's like, it's a good decision, but like maybe it's just not the decision I would have made had money not been an issue. And again, it wasn't like I needed $1 million to put them in private lessons, but $150. And it was just so huge. So yeah, celebrate those wins.
Massive. And people can relate to that. And also, can we just go back to the Holly of was it 2015 or 2016, when you were pushing hard for this goal? Your husband was in France. You had this new child. Your life was crazy. But in that moment that you were hustling for elite, you proved to yourself what you were capable of. And that was the exact action. That was the foundation you needed to build that next year you went top 10, right?
Yes, exactly.
And she just worked her butt off, guys. Yeah. And we all have like this comfortable area of like how we exist in this business, like send a couple of invites, maybe twice a week, and maybe show up to our workouts, and maybe really go below surface level 1 or 2 times a month. But like Holly dug deep in her business in that season of hustle, and she allowed that to be exactly what she needed to snowball into retiring her husband. Mm-hmm. Like she's been a coach as long as me, and that's like mind-blowing that you were able to retire your husband. And it's just absolutely incredible to hear from you, like what that foundation came from, that you were just this coach who was not putting in the time and the effort, and then all of a sudden you had to, and it was like game on. This is what I can do, and this is what can grow in 10 days. Imagine a year of that, 2 years of that.
And in a year of that, you're exactly right. I went from 5-star with a second business and her husband, and like a friend diamond who was like, I'll do this for you, to top 10 coach that next year. So like I am obsessed with Grant Cardone, like 10X rule. Like Be Obsessed or Be Average. I listen to all the time.
So good.
Yeah. I mean, like just prove to yourself what you can do. Like you just have no idea. And at every level you like get comfortable. Right. And so like, I've even found myself like, sure, my level of action may be higher than a lot of people, but then it gets this comfortable level. And literally just like last month, I was like, well, this is really silly. Like I need to kick my butt into gear and prove to myself what this next level looks like. Like you should never be comfortable. You should always be pushing yourself. Like if you're hitting your goals, congrats, but that means they are not big enough. Like they are not big enough.
I love it. What would you say to the coach who feels like they're putting in the work every single day and they're like ready to give up? Like right before, like as their mentor, I can see that they're so close to hitting success, but they're giving up like right before they start to explode in this business.
Yeah. So first, because I have a lot of coaches who will say, I sent like 100 invites a day. I'm like, I'm not seeing any results. And so first, I really always tell people like, let's do an audit, right? Like first, let's audit. Okay, you're inviting 100 people. Are those 100 warm market or like legit cold market? And really define that warm market versus cold market and expectations. So if you just go on Instagram and you're sending like 100 invites to someone you have never spoken to, they have never like watched a story, they have no idea who you are, that compared to someone who's been watching your stories or someone who, you friended on Facebook and they're following you, two very different people. And so you need to set different expectations on conversion. So I tell them like straight up, let's set that expectation. Look at your business activity tracker. Are you legit doing all the actions every single day? And what do those look like? If you are like, yes, I'm doing it. And I have a lot of coaches who'll be like, I'm hitting that Success Club 5, but I feel stagnant, and I think that's a hard place to be too. Like maybe you are a diamond or you're like really close to diamond, but it's like, where's that next business builder going to come from? I really would. So I like to pair up with someone, like if you have a success partner, and this is when I get like really deep into avatar and storytelling, because that truthfully is what's going to pull people to you versus you just kind of falling flat and being that coach that, there's a lot of Beachbody coaches, right? And so how do you differentiate? How do you connect? And so we get on live, like on a Zoom, record it, and I have my coaches interview each other. And so you would start by, and again, I like being able to just like take action. When I feel stuck, it's like, what's something new I can try, right? Like for me, it's just always about action, fail forward. So let's do an interview. So, what was your childhood like? Like start telling me stories about your childhood. And I like to record it as well. And then, it's amazing because I have so many people like, oh, how many stories? Like I just had this really easy childhood. The second you get on and you're just talking like friends and someone's like, oh my gosh, like tell me about your childhood or tell me about middle school or high school, or like, why did you decide to major in this? Or why did you do this or this or this? Like all these stories start coming out, and then you can go on. And I mean, I have dozens of interviews that I've done with people because there's all different stories and all different parts of your life. But I love it recorded because I find that coaches also get in their head, especially when you're trying to write posts. You're like, this has to sound perfect. Oh my gosh. Like, no, let me rewrite this. Like, how do I write this story? The best thing that you can do is to write like you talk. And so that's the great thing about recording something like this, is that now you can like hear it back. And a lot of my coaches have like used like Fiverr, taken it and sent it to someone on Fiverr and had them transcribe their stories for them. And then you literally can go and like pull out stories. Of course, you can clean it up a little, but it gives you this like, have a whole encyclopedia of stories, and they're already written out for you in your words, with your excitement, with your true emotions. And so that is one thing that I tell my coaches to do. Like we do a social media audit, but Ashley, like you said, like sometimes it's just so surface level, right? Like maybe I dig deep one or two times. You need to be digging deep like a lot. You know, you need people to know who you are and connect truthfully with those stories. And that too is going to be a big difference between being able to recruit challengers and being able to recruit coaches. Because challengers, yes, we are changing lives through health and fitness. But when they're like, it's $160, like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. When we're asking people to sign up as a coach and they're putting themselves out there on social media, it's a different level of like, what if I fail? Because if I fail on my health and fitness journey and no one knows that I'm doing it, whatever, I'm just where I was. But when we ask people to put themselves out there on social media and say, I'm starting a business, the what if I fail becomes a lot bigger. And so they need to fully trust you. They need to want to not only like, they need to want to be you, have your life or some part of it. They need to be invested in you and your stories. I mean, my followers literally are like, I have coaches who are like, I've been following you since you were pregnant with Sam, who's 3. Like for 3 years, they have followed me. For 3 years, they've watched this journey and then they decided to join. But they're like, I know you. Like, I know your kids. I cry when you cry. So that is going to be a huge differentiator for you. So for my coaches, especially my leaders who are feeling stuck in terms of recruiting and really moving their businesses forward, I truthfully believe it is because they haven't gotten deep enough and they haven't found that avatar, that connection, and they haven't worked maybe to grow that network of followers too. You need to know like where your people are, you know? So you dig deep with the avatar. Where are you going to find your avatar? Where does your avatar hang out? Who are those engaged avatars over on social media? So you can then start engaging with them, getting them to follow you and fall in love with you. But truthfully, I mean, that's the biggest thing. You've got to figure out how to put yourself out there on social media and how to connect without actually being able to, you know, physically touch someone. But stories makes it so much easier. You've got to be real and vulnerable on stories too. Like I've cried on stories and showed the messy parts of your life. My best post, I actually write on airplanes. I always like end up crying on airplanes, like, because I'm writing really emotional posts. My best posts are when I'm like when you are deep in the emotion, that is the best. So I'm either crying or like hyped up on energized when I write posts. Like it's like one or the other. So my like feisty posts, which I do not do a lot of feisty posts. They make me very nervous. But today I actually slept last night, which was amazing with like the 2 boys. And I drank Energized and I just did like a crazy cardio workout. So I was like all pumped up. And I was like, I literally showed it to my husband. I was like, can I post this? And he was like, I think it's okay. It's like, it's not too bad, but like, and it like resonated with so many people. So it's like those high emotions and being real are going to change your business. And don't copy anyone else. Who cares what Ashley's doing? Like stop looking at other coaches.
Have fun. It's just so transparent, like so like you can see it in everything that you do, that you treat your business like such a business. And that's what it comes down to. Like truly you're showing up like a business owner and you're taking your business seriously. And that's what takes us from being just a coach who signs challengers to a leader of leaders. And Holly, you're so incredible. I look up to you like crazy. This call was absolutely everything that I needed to hear, that I know all of our team needed to hear. And that's our biggest weakness, I would say, is really recruiting coaches who want to work this business. And it comes down to digging deeper and showing them why they need it.
And I'll also add, I didn't say it, but you mentioned like the work. Don't be afraid to show people the work. So too many people can recruit a bunch of coaches and then they do nothing. That's not the coaches we want.
Right.
I tell people like, yeah, I show people my work. I'm up before my boys are up. I work during nap time and I work late at night. And I show people that I am working and so if you want people that are going to work, don't act like this is just some like super fun like dance party all the time, because it's not. You know, you have to put in the hustle, which is amazing. How lucky are we to be able to put in hustle and then build a business for our families? Like that's incredible. So like don't think that by showing people hard work, it turns them off. Showing them hard work is proving that you know how to build a business. So exactly what Ashley was saying, but show people the work. Like that's fun. It's fun.
I once had a coach quit and was like, oh, I was just losing sleep over it. I was like working too hard toward it. I'm like, thank God. Like we're so blessed to be able to work towards something that will give us total freedom. You know, like I was able to leave my teaching job at 22 years old, build a multiple six-figure business at 20. Like we're so lucky to have a hustle like this. But it's a shame that some people aren't willing to put in the work. We have to be that picture of what it takes to get there. And I mean, you're that, Holly. Thank you. Thank you a million times over. You are amazing, guys. Thank you for showing up on our team call tonight, making your business a priority tonight. This is going to be one that I listen to over and over and over again. And I'm really going to take what you said about allowing like getting my coaches on and recording their stories and having them talk back and forth.
Awesome.
Because too many people overanalyze their story, think that it's, thinking it's not important or nobody wants to hear it. But every piece of what we've gone through, somebody can relate to. It's huge.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Holly, you're amazing, guys. I will talk to you later. Have a good night. Bye, guys.